it doesn't matter who tutors your year 11 or 12 studying standard maths if we don't fix the root issue of what's causing them to lose marks. And if you stick around, I'm going to show you the exact process that every single tutoring system needs to implement to get students to that top band 6. And it's the exact same process Yanni, Will, and Sienna used. So for those of you who don't know me yet, my name's Andrew Malcolm. I failed math in year 11 and topped New South Wales in year 12. Ever since then, for the last 5 years, I've been helping students in my company, ACM Tuition, score a band 6 and get into their dream university degree. So with that out the way, let's have a look at these. So Yanni is the first student we're going to talk about. Yanni did group tutoring, right, specifically. Right? And the struggle he faced, let me put this, the struggle he faced was that he didn't know how to answer those hard, long, wordy standard math questions. He just dropped down from advanced, where they do all the equations, and he came into the standard math and he's like, yo, like these questions are so different, like to what I did in advanced. So he didn't know how to solve those long, wordy questions, and he had trouble knowing how to study as well. So in his first test, he was scoring about 78%, and he said, I need to get a band 6. So his struggle is not that he's sitting at 78%. His struggle is he doesn't know how to solve those long, wordy questions. Right? And he also has difficulty in how to study. So what we did with the solution is in the group sessions, we taught him specifically how to solve those long, wordy questions, right? How to actually study. We gave him frameworks of what he actually needs to do, the method he has to do, and how long it's going to take as well, right? So it's like a collective thing. So we did group sessions. We also did Q&A sessions with him. So we had an open class where it wasn't specifically, learning a specific concept or going through a specific type of questions. It was just open sessions, so we could target these. He could bring anything he wanted to that session on even how to study or long, wordy questions, and we could get it sorted in that time. So Yanni went from 78% to 100%. But let me ask you this. Do you think if we put him in just group tutoring or even just one-on-one tutoring and we didn't focus on this, we just taught him the content and we didn't even teach him or give him frameworks of how to study, right? Do you think he would have improved? Think about that. So continuing on to Will. Right, Will did specifically one-on-one tutoring, right, with me specifically. Right? And his struggle was he didn't understand the content and then also those really, really hard questions at the end of the standard math paper. So it's a mix of content and hard questions. So Will started off at 60% before he joined, and in his first test in 5 weeks, he got up to 100%. So what was the solution we used? In the one-on-one sessions with me, we specifically went over the specific content that he needed to go over from school, right? Not everything, just the content that he was actually lacking in. Right? And then we also gave him a full roadmap of what to do and how to study as well. Right? So what and how to study. And you'll notice that no matter what area or range you're at, if you improve your study habits, everything gets better. And then the last thing we did is we just worked on those hard HSC questions. So I set him homework of, look, I don't care when you get them done, but before the exam, if you want to go through them with me, we get as many of these questions done, bring them to the lesson, and we can work on them, give you frameworks of how do we actually target that question as well. Like, how do you think about that? If those of you who've seen it, it's the 3 watts, 1 how system. So that's what we did with Will. With Sienna, actually, going back to Will as well, right, do you think if we did one-on-one tuition and all we did was we focused on the content, or scratch that, let's say all we did was focus on the hard HSC questions, do you think Will would have improved to this 100%? Right? Or is it something else, right? I hope you're kind of getting the picture now, right? This is what I'm saying, like, what specifically do we need to change? Right? So Sienna, the last person, she started in around 80 to, I think it was like 85% or something. And what she did was a hybrid model. So she does group, one-on-ones, right, and so forth, right? Her struggle was she knows the content, but can't translate that into the exam. So like a translation problem. All right, forgive me if I spelled that wrong. All right, it's a translation problem. And also she had trouble with those hard, wordy standard math questions of just breaking them down. And she also didn't know how to study. Right. So look, she was doing past papers and she was cramming, but the root issue for everything that she was going through is she didn't know how to study effectively. So what we did is every fortnight, so every 2 weeks, we had a check-in session with her. And this is where we went over exactly what she did for the last 2 weeks, what she needs to do for the next 2 weeks to continue to get that 100% band 6. Right? And she came to those sessions and checked in. She did the group sessions as well. She did one-on-one sessions when she needed specific help on something, and she got to 100%. And again, my question is, for Sienna, considering, right, she didn't know how to study, so she was doing papers but not getting results. If we just got her in a one-on-one lesson twice a week in person, let's say, and we just went over the content with her, or we just went over the hard HSC questions with her, right? Do you think she would have improved? Right? Or do you think it's because we actually fixed how she studies? Right? And this is the important thing that I want to emphasize, right? None of these students got to 100% because I specifically taught them. I barely even taught Sienna. This was with our tutor Ryan at ACM Tuition. Right? I taught Will, obviously one-on-one. Yanni, I taught in conjunction with another tutor we have at ACM. But these guys didn't get to 100% because I taught them. Will didn't get to 100% because it was a one-on-one tuition, like specifically with him. Right? Yanni didn't get to 100% because he was just doing group tuition, right? All these guys got to 100% because we fixed the root issue of what's going on. And that's the shift that tutoring needs to make. It's no longer a system of, oh, this is just one-on-one. We need one-on-one in-person tuition to get my kid that result. We don't need that. What we need is an actual system that fixes the root issue of what's going on, right? And this kind of ties into, everyone always texts me or messages me on Instagram being like, hey, how much does your services cost? Like, we just looked at this. I haven't even talked to the kid. Like, I don't know how much help they need or what we'll have to do to get them to that result. Right? And so when you guys are thinking like, what's the code to tutoring? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's one-on-one. It doesn't matter if it's group. Right? It doesn't matter if it's a mix. What matters is we make a plan to fix the root issue so that your kid can thrive, so that your kid can hit a band 6. But that's not all. If you've seen like how helpful it is to actually know where you're struggling, I have a video that breaks down exactly where students are struggling at, right? Whether it's silly mistakes, whether it's worded questions, whether it's how they're studying. It goes down and it asks you questions like, are you doing this, doing this? And it lets you rate where you are on a scale, right? If you want that video, and I will literally send it to you across, right? All you have to do is, as long as you're committed or your child is committed to getting to that top level, send me a message on Instagram. And if you really see how helpful this could be, right, to actually break down the exact weakness, send me a message on Instagram. Say you've seen this video and you like the roadmap of the breakdown of where students are struggling, and you like a breakdown of where students are struggling the most. Send me a message on Instagram about this video, and I'll send it across. All right, but other than that, see you guys next time.